Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I've got my little glass of kombucha here and we've got my little baby here as well. She's so sleepy. And I thought for this week we could do another chatty life update, little Q&A. I went on my Instagram at Kaur and you guys asked me a bunch of questions on things that you're a little bit curious about on what's going on with me right now. So I thought I would go through them all and answer them for you. So let's just get right into it. Question number one is, how are you really doing, Tam? How's your mental health? PS, love ya. Love ya. I love this question. I think it's the perfect one to start off with. Thank you for checking in with me. That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Thank you for checking up on me. Truthfully, this question couldn't have come at a better time because my mental health has been in the gutter. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't even want to go and have social plans. And I was really thinking, like, what's going on with me? Why am I so miserable that I don't have the energy to do anything? I was just moving so lazy. I was barely working. And then, out of nowhere, there was a day where the sky was blue and it was sunny again. I mean, it was still so cold. And I was so happy all day and I was so joyful and I was motivated and I got all of my work done. And then the next day it went back to how it's been all year so far, which is not even grey skies, white skies, like no colour, rain, just cold, windiness. And I felt miserable again. And I was like, oh, it's SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder, which I remembered I experience this every single year. And honestly, the way that I've dealt with it is just letting myself sit with it and just letting myself rest and take off as much time as I possibly can, like doing the bare minimum and like the absolute urgent things I need to do work-wise, but just not pushing myself how I usually do because I clearly can't manage it right now. And then anytime there's literally even a little ray of sunshine, which right now there is, I've been going out for walks because being around nature, getting your fresh air, moving your body are all ways that you can hack your happy hormones and just be your best self. So I've been prioritizing that. However, there's been one thing that really helped me put my mood on track. I was with Boyf the other day and I said, instead of our daily walk just around where we live, let's just go to Big Ben. And let's have a walk around all of the tourist sites in London because yes, we've both been there separately before, but ever since living in London, we literally haven't been around that area. And when we went, the sun was actually setting. It was gorgeous and there were so many tourists about and it made me feel, it just reignited that gratitude I have for the fact that I live in the city that I've always dreamt of my entire life and just got me in my happy mood again, which was great. And I'm journaling a lot and that's been helping so much. I got back into my morning meditation and it literally just fixed everything for me. I've also been working on a desk here, which you guys are balanced on right now in the living room. Changing my work environment has also been amazing and I feel like my mental health is finally getting back to where it actually is. Next question is, how are you settling in with Matcha? Absolutely amazing. I love that little girl so much. I'm so much in my mother era. And one question I've been getting a lot from you guys on my Snapchat has been, do you plan on getting another kitty? Because Matcha's a ragdoll, they do better in pairs with each other because they're quite like a needy, affectionate breed. And my goal in life has always been to have 2 cats. And so we are going to be getting one really, really soon. And I'm really hoping that if things work out, I'll be able to get a boy this time. So we have one of each. I do plan on getting another ragdoll because I love her and her personality so much and how loving she is. So I think having 2 ragdolls would be the best. And also, I'll just tell you guys now, for the second kitten that we get, I'm going to be naming that cat Chai. So it will be Matcha and Chai. And honestly, these ideas have been in my head for so long and I can't believe this year it's like really happening. We love Matcha so much and she's just the cutest thing in the world and I can be at home like working on my laptop all day and just seeing her little face brings me so much happiness. Yeah, I love it and I can't wait to get another one. Why don't you share more moments with the boy? We want to see more of you guys. Okay, this had to be close to one of the most commonly asked questions I got in this Q&A. So many of you asked this, so many of you want to know about Boyf. So I wanted to answer this. You guys don't see a lot of us because I put so much of myself out there online. I vlog every single week and then I do my main channel videos and I talk about hard things I've been through and my lessons and I share the BTS of my life every single day on my Snapchat as well. I need something for my own sanity to just be mine and to just enjoy it and live in it. On top of that, I've said this many times before, Boyf is really, really private, so he just doesn't want to be on the social media scene, so of course I have to respect that. But even if he did, I think I am just at a point now in my life where I'm like, I just love that it's sacred and that it's ours, and I think I actually do a really good job at talking to you guys about our relationship and showing you guys him when it's framed in a way of, this is the kind of relationship I'm in and this is how we're doing things in our relationship. Because before I was in this relationship, I was really seeking out that type of content and I wanted those healthy examples. So I do try and do that as much as possible, but this is just my one thing that's personal to me and it's going to stay that way. Next question is, share a secret. How do you spend your day with boy where we haven't seen them on vlogs? That's actually really interesting. Yeah. So honestly, every single week when I'm vlogging, I'll have like a weekend that I'm about to spend with boy, I'll have a date day with him. And I always think, should I vlog it? Or because a while ago, I used to vlog a lot of our days, but I used to just like crop his face out. And now I just haven't been doing that because even though I could, and even though he'd be more than happy to help me, I'm always just like, I want to be so in the moment and so present with spending time with him and being on our date that I just don't want to remember to pull my camera out. And that's just where my priorities are at in the moment. That's why the year that just passed, when we had our anniversary in August, we went to Venice. And so many of you DM me on Instagram and you were like, why didn't you vlog it? Because I vlogged our anniversary before. But I will stand by this. That was genuinely the best decision I ever could have made because it was actually a real holiday for me too, not worrying about filming and capturing content. But to answer your question, what do we do when we spend our days together? So we have a tradition now where we have one set day of the week and it's the same day every week, almost every week, that we will try to go out. We pick a random area or neighborhood in London and we'll just spend the whole day exploring that area. So normally we'll go like in the morning and we'll go explore a new restaurant, have lunch there together. And then afterwards we'll explore the nearby shops and I of course always buy something. And then maybe we'll do a museum in the area and we'll just go down like all of the best streets in that area to fully just feel out that area and see if we like it. So far we've done Marylebone, Mayfair, Soho, Notting Hill, Kensington, Chelsea, Angel, Shoreditch, and maybe a few other. Oh, we just did Westminster because we did all of the sites and we've probably done a few more, but it's been so much fun and we're literally never on our phones and we're just fully immersed in each other. Anytime we go on a dinner date or a lunch date, the conversation is always very reflective on where we're at as a couple. We love to do our little check-ins. We love to have deep conversations, just recap our week and just really focus on each other more because even though we spend so much time together at home because we both work from home, I feel like with our date days, it's just reigniting that romance and that effort and attention again, which separates it from the home environment and chores and work and all of that stuff. Next question, when did you get and how did you feel when you got your first payment? Okay, I can recall this experience so vividly. The first time I ever got paid was actually for a social media post and I still remember the brand to this day. They were like a card game brand and I actually loved their brand beforehand anyway. And they emailed me and they said, we would love to send you our game and we'll pay you to post it on your Instagram. And they were like, oh, what's your rate? And I was just like, I get paid to make an Instagram post. So I said, oh, my rate is £50. And they were like, okay. And I jumped on my bed so much and I danced and I blasted music and I just felt like the luckiest girl in the entire world. And I was so grateful. And I genuinely couldn't believe that posting a little Instagram picture to, I think I had 10,000 followers at the time. This was back in 2020 that I got paid for the first time. I was in uni and I was just like, my mind was blown. I will always remember that day. How is it living in London? Do you want to stay there long term? I actually love it so much more than I ever thought I would. I spent a lot of time in London growing up, so I always knew I wanted to live here. It was always like on my bucket list as the first place I ever want to get my big girl apartment. But because I spent so much time here, I didn't think I was gonna love it so much because I felt like I already knew it and I was used to it. But I just fall in love with the city more and more every single day. And there's definitely two types of people in the UK. And there's people that love the busy, bustling, loud city vibes and the people that absolutely hate it. And I'm grateful that I am the girl who loves the big city because I've been loving London. There's no part of it that I don't like. Oh no, the only part of it that I don't get along with is the weather. If the weather was good here, and I didn't suffer from seasonal affective disorder, I would live here for the rest of my life. I'd buy a house here and then that's me settled. But being depressed 6 months out of the year just isn't something I can get behind. So I am really looking into options of where else I can move. Dubai is something that I'm strongly considering, that I need to go there for a trip first to kind of see if I like the vibe or not. Otherwise, I might just have to settle in London because I do love it just so much. I love the people and the community and the vibe and the places that you can go and Honestly, this has felt more like home to me than any other place I've ever been. How do you separate personal life from work life? This is kind of like how I'm trying to define 2025 and definitely a big focus for me. But I also have to recognize and admit that with my job, personal life and work life, like the lines are blurred and they just always are going to be blurred, and your personal life is something that you are going to have to sacrifice a lot, and that's just what comes with the job, and you're just going to have to accept that. And if you're the kind of person that can accept that, then you're great. And I think you are cut out for the job of being an influencer and being a content creator. I for one have wanted this job for so many years, and I feel like I have the right personality for it because I genuinely am such an open book. Yes, there are a lot of days where I just want to kind of go about it on my own without having to remember to capture it all and post it, but there are also a lot of days where I enjoy the process of capturing it and posting and seeing your guys' comments and engaging with you guys on that. I think the literal only way I separate personal life and work life is by keeping my relationship pretty private. Even that is not a secret. I do talk about it a little bit, but that's like my one thing. Everybody's boundaries are different and everybody's balances are different, and that's just the balance that works for me. Something you struggle with right now. I've actually got a really good answer for this. This is something that is kind of a way of being and a way of comfort that's existed in my life. And I've only ever realized it was a problem like this week. So this timing is excellent. Something I'm struggling with right now is the fact that I'm such a homebody, and I'm really deeply starting to dislike it. And I feel like where I'm at with my self-development journey now, I feel like my self-development journey kind of took a pause in the sense that there weren't any weaknesses or obstacles in my life that I needed to prioritize and fix straight away. It was more about just being disciplined and being consistent and kind of continuing and growing in my career. This has been the first obstacle that's been thrown back into my life after a while, and I'm ready. I feel like I'm back in my phase of like healing and working on myself and rewiring my mindset and trying to be different. And by no means am I saying that being a homebody is really bad. If you are a homebody and you love that and you love your life, then love that for you. It's definitely served me in so many ways so far throughout my life. I think it's standing more in my way than anything else, and for that reason it's got to go. When I was growing up, when I was a teenager, I lived with my grandparents. I wasn't allowed to leave the house. I didn't have a social life. I wasn't going to like school parties and stuff like that. I wasn't even allowed to go to the park with my friends growing up, like after school. I was literally like a 16, 17-year-old girl, and I was at home all the time. And when you stay home all the time, the one thing that used to bring me so much comfort is I would just watch movies all day long. I would go onto Sky and I would pick a genre like horror, and then I'd watch all the movies in that category over a weekend. It is crazy. It doesn't even sound crazy. It is crazy, and it's such a strange and not productive use of time when there's so much out there in the world that you can explore. But I had no other option, and I did that for years and years on end. So it's no wonder that now my brain and my body literally craves it. Any single time I've had a long day or a stressful week, it's like go sit on the sofa and be a potato for the entire weekend and do nothing else. And I want to challenge myself to just step outside of that and be like, you know what, even after a long and tiring week, I want to get out into the world. I want to go see my friends. I want to explore something new. I want to go on a solo date. I want to do all of these things. So that's the energy I'm trying to shift towards, and man, it's hard. How is your relationship with your parents? This was actually the most commonly asked question in the entire Q&A. It's something I really don't like to speak on whatsoever. And yeah, it's not something I see myself like making any videos on or speaking about in depth, but I'm going to address it in this video just because I've had people asking me this constantly over and over and over again, and I ignore it every single time. So I want to say it once and for all now. I have no relationship with either of my parents. It's been that way for many years now. Neither of them even live in the UK. We're not even on the same continents as each other. They don't live with each other either. They've been separated since I was 9 years old. Don't get me wrong, there have been so many times in my life where I've tried to reach out and I've tried to have a relationship with them or talk through things or communicate, because this is the thing, and I think if you haven't been through this experience, you wouldn't get it. Like, nobody wants to not speak to their parents. Like, that's horrendous. It's a horrible, gut-wrenching, heartbreaking experience to go through. And I can speak about it a little bit calmly now because it's been so many years, but healing from that and going through that and trying to live life normally when all of a sudden your parents not there anymore is horrible. I can't even put it into words, but it is what had to be done. And I know that I've put my all into trying to make it work and trying for it to fit into my life. And it just, I can confidently say now, it just was never meant to be. And that was just never meant to be part of my story. So yeah, and that's really all I can say. The relationship is non-existent. There's nothing for me more to say on it. And I would really appreciate if we could put that chapter to rest now, guys. Next question. I would really love to hear more about being a South Asian influencer. Okay, I have had this question a little bit before and it kind of confuses me because I don't really know what angle to approach it from. I think some people want to know, like, if you're South Asian and an influencer, do you feel discriminated against or are you getting treated differently, etc., etc. On that part, I can't say that I relate to that whatsoever. I don't think I've ever been treated you know what, I probably have, but I probably just have not noticed it. Would I say that I can recall any moments where I've been robbed of opportunities or treated differently because of my ethnicity? I really don't think so. But when you say, like, tell me more about being a South Asian influencer, I don't think I have much to say. I can tell you about being an influencer because I just don't class myself as a South Asian influencer. I don't think being South Asian has defined the way that I go about my job or that I go about my career. I know for other people it does because that's the type of content that they create, but I think I'm all for speaking on the majority and speaking for women as a whole. So my ethnicity is just something that's just for me and my culture is just for me, and I feel like I connect with it more deeply when I'm with my family. But yeah, I wouldn't really say it's had a big role in my career so far. Next question. How does you and boy cope with hectic life every day, mentally and physically? This is a really good question. I feel like this isn't something we've struggled with since living together. We are just really good with checking in with each other and trying to do our best for the other person where we can with the capacity we have. I heard this quote a really long time ago, which gave me so much clarity on what real love means, because I think for so much of my life, I never really knew, what does it mean to love somebody? What does that actually mean? And the quote was, loving somebody is committing to lessening their suffering. I'm probably butchering that quote, but it's something along those lines. It's about committing yourself to trying to reduce their suffering, because everybody goes through suffering on this planet. Everybody goes through suffering and hard times in their life, and it's about being there through that and learning how to show up even though you're going through your own suffering. And I think that really embodies how we show up for each other every day, whether it's like, hey, you're busy, I can see you're busy, you don't even have to tell me, I got this, I'm making dinner, or I'm doing this. Or you're feeling down, like if I'm feeling down, like I have been for the last 2 weeks, I've been so depressed, and Boyf known and he's seen it, and he's the one who's like, get up, let's go for a walk, let's get a matcha, or let's go and do this. Or he's the one who's trying to cheer me up, or he's trying to give me ideas because he knows I just simply don't have the mental capacity to do it for myself. In terms of hectic life, I think we're just really open and honest with each other about what our weeks look like and our schedules. However, I will say we're just very privileged to be able to both work from home, so that even when we are hectic and just swamped and stressed with loads of work, it doesn't take away from each other because we're stressed, but we're next to each other. We're like in rooms next to each other, so we can just check in with each other and it's fine. Next question. Were you ever betrayed by your best friends? Did they turn out to be a mean person? To answer your question, yes, 100%. I've gone through so many friendship breakups and I've gone through so many experiences where my friends didn't live up to who I thought they were. But I wouldn't use the word betrayed because I think I looked at it that way when I was younger. But now I think you're not betraying me, you're just showing me who you have been this entire time, and I'm the one who chose not to see it. And it takes time. Sometimes you have to be friends with people for years. Sometimes you have to be in certain situations with people to figure out what their true colours are and what their intentions have been for you. I don't think there's ever been a situation where somebody genuinely was actually there for me and then turned out to be a completely different person. It's like there just had to be a little slow build up of, oh, this is who you really are, but I was just looking at your potential, or I was just viewing you from the lens of what I would do for you if I was in your shoes, kind of thing. And that I have experienced a lot of times where, yeah, people who I thought had my best interests at heart weren't very nice at all. And if you guys want to know how to deal with that and how I've dealt with that, I have an entire video on my main channel on how to deal with friendship breakups. The lessons in that video saved me every single time. Okay, and we're gonna finish off with this question. Can you tell us a little bit about what made you decide you don't want children? So yeah, I have touched on this a little bit before. I wanna start by saying, as it stands right now in this present moment, I absolutely do not want children. The idea of it, I just can't. I can't wrap my head around it. I don't want that for my life. However, I can acknowledge that in 10 or 15 years, I might think completely differently and I might want them. It's not that I hate children. That's not the thing. I see kids out all the time and I love talking to them, and I have really young kids in my family. So I'm the one who like played with all of the kids growing up. The reason I don't want to have children is for a few reasons. One, even though I think I could do a pretty good job, to me, in my mind, in my personal opinion, that's not enough. If I was going to take on the role of being a mother, I want to be, and I know it's not possible to be a perfect mother, but I want to just be the best possible mother I could be, and I want to put my absolute 100% into it and commit my life to it. I want to commit my life to making sure that I'm raising this person to be the best possible person they can be, not in a sense of like academic achievement or perfection or intelligence, but just they're a good, confident, self-assured person, so that when they go out into the world, they don't hurt other people because they had a good childhood and they're not going through trauma. That's my goal. And I think that's huge. And I would need a lot of time on my plate, and I would need to retire to even, for me personally, to be able to want to take that on. And then 2 is, I'm not done with being selfish. I love being selfish. And I love that I have all of the time in the world to just scurry off and do whatever I want, and I can hop on a plane tomorrow if I wanted to. I got my cat sitter who's going to come and look after Matcha, and it's all fine. And I just love the freedom I have right now. If I were to predict what I'm going to be like at 34, I think I'm still going to want that freedom, honestly. Unless I go at my life in such a fast pace in the next few years that I achieve everything I'd ever want to do, which I don't think is likely. I'm somebody who wants to do a lot of things all the time, which you guys can probably tell by my career. I've written a book, I have a podcast, I create content on so many social channels, I have 2 YouTube channels, I've written a newsletter, I have a journal business. There's so much I do because I'm constantly intrigued and curious. And I always want to learn more about myself and explore and grow and meet my full potential. And I think that in itself is such a lifelong journey. To bring a child into that mix when I clearly have really big priorities, I don't think is fair for my potential child. Having said that, I went to a psychic once in New York, and she said that I'm going to have a child when I'm 35. Just one child. So who knows? Stay tuned. And that brings us to the end of this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought down below. I love doing these just chilled, sat back vlogs. So fun. Let me know if you learned something interesting, if your perspective has changed on something, if there's any other questions you'd like to know. I'm going to do my best to reply to as many of you as possible. And just thank you so much for watching and being here. I'm so appreciative that so many of you sit down and want to watch this and learn about me. I love that. That is honestly so sweet, and that just such a pinch me moment for me that you guys even care. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and thank you for all of the support you give. I will see you same time next week for a brand new vlog on Sunday. I appreciate you. Bye.